Hello Virgo, it's nice to be back again. For those of you that are new, good to have your company too. I'm Dadhichi from astrological.com.au, looking at the horoscope this month for Virgo, April 2016, and just an overview, a snapshot, so that you've got an idea of exactly what's going on, at least in one or two significant areas of your life. Right now we do see the continuing presence of Jupiter with the North Node in very close proximity, indicating a real desire for expansion of self, expansion of your mind, your understanding, intellectual and spiritual, and by default a converse sort of expansion of your relationships. That's important too, because you've got Venus and Neptune transiting that area. Venus will move out of there on the 6th, I believe, and it will make contact with the Sun, Mercury and Uranus, which are in the 8th house right now, which is a house of self-transformation, intimacy, sexuality and all those other sort of hidden secrets. It's not generally considered a good house, but some of us with broader views on astrology actually take this house to represent a form of rebirth. And that's all the more certain this month due to the new moon taking place a day after Venus enters into this area of your horoscope. The new moon there in the sign of Aries. So what that can mean is a renewed sort of effort to really dig down deep into the core part of your nature, Virgo, that part of your being that is locked away, hidden, but is, I guess, the underlying psychological substratum of, why you do things, particularly in the area of relationships. We also see from the 4th house that very powerful Mars aspect to your relationship sector. It's a square aspect, that's a challenging aspect. That is the planet that's ruling this 8th house where that new moon will take place. So as you can see, we tie all of these different threads together and start to get a theme for the month of April for you and beyond. Let's not forget too that you have the somewhat friendly Saturn in your 4th house, but that is still not really an easy placement, and now coupled with that impending conjunction of Mars that's going to happen over the next couple of months, actually around August to be precise. That's showing itself as a great deal of frustration within yourself. And because that has a strong link to the relationship part of your horoscope, there's no doubt that you are feeling pressure there. And that's still not going to be overridden by the presence of Venus now, I don't think. Although Venus is one of your better planets. As I said, after the 6th, it's not going to be there. And you're going to be left with that really, really abrasive Mars and Saturn influence on that 7th house of relationships. Mercury is your ruling planet. We see a conjunction right on the first day of the month with Uranus in that 8th house. And that shows your mind, your nerves, your emotions could be really in for some unexpected twists and turns. It can also frazzle your nerves quite a bit. So you need to keep things decompressed, nice and calm, because there could be reason for you to, be more explosive than you generally are as a Virgoan. Normally you're seen to be more of a, laid back. So you're certainly hypercritical, both of yourself and others, but more sort of shy, laid back. But this changes that, definitely, and that sets the tone for the whole month, I believe. The 6th, we see the movement of Mercury. It moves very quickly out of the sign of Aries into Taurus, and that's your 9th house. So there will be a bit of a shift away from the relationship side of things into such things as educational pursuits, travel. There could be some legal matters for some of you that need to be dealt with. And also this 9th house, if we consider that there's this very strong theme of relationships and frustration in that area, Mercury could have you thinking back to the previous issues that caused the circumstances that you're in. Mind you too, Mercury, your ruler, goes retrograde on the 29th, later in the month. So if you've got anything to say, it's a good idea to do it earlier in the month, prior to those last few days, when in any case you're probably going to be backtracking over some of these issues, over some of the topics and the discussions that you've had earlier in the month. There's a full moon going to occur in Scorpio. That's the sign of debilitation for the moon, but the third house is the house of communication, negotiation, and also thinking, really. So with the moon and emotional body moving through this area, it's quite likely you're going to also be a little reactive. So again, I caution you to use as much restraint as you can. That's later in the month, but that also opens up opportunities for communication with a new set of social characters, because it rules your 11th house. What else do we have here for you? Anything interesting? You've got a nice trine on the 13th from Venus, again a very favourable 9th lord, to Saturn. That can cool relationships a little bit, but it can basically give you a bit more of a constructive way forward, especially out of this set of circumstances that we've seen in the earlier part of the month. Trine to Saturn, there's a trine on the 13th to Mars. That's very sexy. It gives you an opportunity also to, probably between the 13th and the 19th, you'll see a bit more of an amorous cycle taking place with that constructive, cooler sort of trine to Saturn taking place on the 19th. It's an interesting month for you. I think the full moon is going to set the trend for some shifts in your communication, especially when you've got Mercury there in the 9th house, which is also looking directly at your 3rd house. It's the higher mind. It offers you the opportunity to, draw on some of those hidden resources along with that 8th house to really change the pattern of your communication and to move forward in your relationships. Join me at astrology.com.au, and next month I'll be back again for those of you that want a little more insight. Take care. I'll see you here soon. Bye-bye.